So turn the screen on, look at that, ready to race. So welcome to a RiderCamTV review of the KTM 1290 Super Adventure S. The sound of this machine is absolutely amazing. I love the distinctive sound of that can, and it's a distinctive KTM sound. You know it's a KTM if you can hear the engine. The screen, I just think it's absolutely amazing. For me, it's brought motorcycling into the 21st century. You have mobile phones and you have tablets and all sorts at your disposal all the time, and yet on a motorbike you seem to have analog dials that look pretty on different bikes, but this has taken it to the next level. Now, I guess that with the screen being digital and almost like a computer screen, that the possibilities in the future will be quite amazing for this bike in terms of adding sat nav and other functionality to this bike. Now, this bike has got 160 brake horsepower, and I'll put the torque up in the description. 160 brake horsepower. It comes in at 215 kilos dry. It's got a 23 litre tank, and talking to KTM, they were saying that this bike, which has only got a few miles on it, it's brand spanking new, was averaging 54 miles to the gallon the other day. So even though it's a 23 litre tank, I'm guessing that touring on this bike wouldn't be a huge issue, because you would be able to do quite a few miles on it. So the visibility of the bike, I can see all around. Those mirrors are really quite big, giving me a good view all around. The screen is quite nice and seems to be quite effective. I will lift it up in a minute, but the controls are really at hand. Now, one thing that I found with the old 1290 Adventure was that to operate the cruise control is really difficult on your right hand, because it was here on the right hand side. It was really difficult to get your thumb round because of this big bulky bit. Whereas now, to set your cruise control, you've got a lever on the left hand side and you just press it to set it, and you get the indication on the dash there, and just to go up and down you just push forward and backwards. It's just absolutely incredible, really, how they've obviously thought about the situating all of the buttons and all of the controls in the right place, because they're all easy at hand, really easy at hand. The only thing that I do find, it might be coming from riding a BMW, is that the indicator stalk seems to be quite long, but I think that's quite a positive, because you're not going to be mistaken for not indicating when you think you have, because it's really a clear indication that you've actually indicated. The seating position is really good. I feel that I'm in control of the bike really well. I've got all of my instruments to hand and all visible and all clear for me to see and use. The seat, although quite hard, and I'm not sure how it would be on a long trip, although quite hard, it feels quite comfortable at the moment. And we've only done a few miles, or I've only done a few miles on the bike, but it does feel quite comfortable. The handlebars, the positioning is quite right. I feel quite relaxed, and my arms are, I guess, a little bit wider than my shoulders, which gives me the feeling that I'm in full control of the bike, and you know, it's really quite manoeuvrable without having to make much of an effort with your arms. They're certainly very comfortable seating. I don't feel that I'm forward very much. I do feel I'm a little bit more forward in the position that I'm sitting than I do on my own bike, but actually the seating position is quite comparable. The gear shift is really pronounced. There's a clear defined click, or a feeling of a click, when you're slipping it into gear and out of gear, which fills me with a bit of confidence, really, that I'm not going to get a mischange or slip it in between two gears very often. KTM offer a huge amount of extras that you can put on your bike, and this one's got Bluetooth connectivity so that you can connect your phone to the bike, and then you can connect a headset to your bike, and you can connect up to 2 headsets but only one phone on this system. But that does change the whole functionality, and as I said before, the possibilities for the future. You know, having things like sat-nav integrated into the screen and connected straight through to your headset, so you can play music through your mobile phone, you can select tracks from the screen, you can change to radio or whatever you do through your phone. But it also adds the function that in the future you might well be able to have sat-nav giving you prompts as you're going throughout your journey straight through to your headset, which I think is a massive plus. Now all these 160 brake horsepower pulling the bike, and it just wants to go. It really does want to go. It's an amazing use of the power that the bike has got. Just a quick turn of the throttle and already you're doing 50-60 miles an hour with minimal effort. I don't think there's any effort. It certainly feels effortless to just pick up the pace. Now, this bike's fitted with a quick shifter and it's seamless. It's seamless. So I'm going to knock it down to 3rd just with a bit of acceleration, and I'm going to bring it up to 4th, bring it up to 5th. There is a slight judder to the bike when you change it. Now that might just be because I'm not putting much of a load on the bike, but I am actually running at a steady speed. So we'll just try it. We'll let this car turn off. I'm going to slow down just a little bit, and then I'll put a little bit of speed on. No, there is a little bit of a judder. I would say that the quick shift is a great thing to have because it enables you to change up and down without having to consistently use the clutch. But I wouldn't say that this is as fluid as other makes of bike, particularly the BMW's quick shifter. This has got a bit of a judder to it, up and down. But that may be that it'll just take a little bit of getting used to be able to get that right. Now the screen is adjustable, and unlike the BMW, you can adjust it when you're riding along. A lot of people will probably say that you shouldn't do, especially with the new laws that have come in around using your mobile phone and using sat-navs and things on motorbikes and all that sort of jazz. So you should probably stop and change it, but if you just want to tweak it, the ability to be able to do that is there relatively easily, which is a massive bonus. I am finding with the gear shift that it is a pronounced change of gear, which is really, really good. It does feel a little bit loose, even though there's a pronounced change there. You know that you're in the gear that you want, but as you're pressing it, there is a little bit of feedback, which might take a little bit of getting used to, where it kind of jumps back up a little bit, which is kind of a bit weird. Now, I really do think KTM have really thought about this bike. Not only has it brought biking into the 21st century with the gadgets and future-proofing and all this amazing stuff that could be added in the future, but they've thought of little things that I think is just amazing in this day and age. On the right-hand side, just below the instruments, there's a mobile phone case, and inside that mobile phone case is a USB connection. I think they do bill the case as being water resistant. It has got a rubber seal around it, so I'd guess that it's quite secure and quite waterproof. I'm not sure how much I would like to test that. I'd probably still be putting my mobile phone into a bag and then putting it in there, but the ability to be able to put your phone away so that you're not having it on your handlebars and not being distracted by things coming up on your mobile phone, I think is really great. And coupled with the fact that you can connect your mobile phone to the bike, I just think is an exceptional step forward, not only for KTM but for motorbikes in general. I think other makes of bike will start following suit, to be honest, because it's such a good idea. Now on this bike I am getting a slight vibe on my right hand, but it may be because I may be gripping the throttle a little bit too tight. And although we're doing 40 miles an hour in sixth, the bike really is unhappy about being in sixth. It's not wanting to go, although the power is there, but it's very, very jerky. Very jerky. But the power is there if you want it. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's exceptional power. Right at your fingertips, all 160 horses working their socks off to give you your riding pleasure. Now this bike, being 215 kilos dry, really fills me with the sense that you can just chuck it around the corners and chuck it around the bends and really enjoy your ride. Sitting here on the bike, it feels very much like I'm on an adventure bike. Of course, because it's an adventure bike, but it's got that real sporty feel. It's got that feel that actually I may look like an adventure bike, but God, I'm going to give people on sports bikes a run for their money. It certainly fills me with the thought that this is really quite a versatile bike, and a bike in which can be used for many, many different uses. The cruise control is very responsive. It took a bit of getting used to actually to actually set the cruise control on the BMW. It's literally just a flick of a switch, and it takes the speed that you're at and sticks it there, and you can go up and down by pushing or pulling back on the little control. This one, I tried it at first and it didn't quite work, so it's something that I'm doing obviously. So in order to activate the cruise control, you need to pull it across to the left to activate the cruise control, and then pull it back and hold it for almost like a split second, just so that it can set the speed. And once it's set the speed, then you can press forward to increase the speed and pull back to decrease the speed. Now you can set the cruise control anywhere over about 20 miles an hour in fourth gear or above, I believe. So for people that like to use cruise control in 30s and 40 mile an hour speed limits, it might be a bit of an issue, because when will you be in fourth gear doing that sort of speed? Just hear that engine purr. I really like it. And because it's a twin, you've really got the engine braking. So I'll put it in second, and the bike is just holding me going down the hill. This is quite a steep hill here, and it's just holding me just right. Now the brake pedal, it does feel quite far down. So if you were pressing the brake pedal like that, it does seem that your foot is almost higher and you're pressing down like that, which takes a bit of getting used to. So this is KTM's first keyless ride bike, and having ridden a bike for quite a while with keyless ride, I think it's the way forward. It comes with quite a beefy key, much like on an Audi or a Skoda, that sort of bike, where the key actually flicks out. And it comes with a master key, and just down on the left hand side of the dash there's a little area where if you did lose your keyless ride key, that you could press that on there and it would allow you to start the bike. Now the bike does feel really responsive, certainly chuckable round bends, very, very comfortable, very, very nimble. And because it feels thinner than most other bikes, you can literally chuck it into bends, you know, and it really is flickable. I mean, I've only ridden this bike for a few miles and already I can feel at one with it. The wind protection is really quite good. The screen is giving me quite a lot of protection from the wind. I don't feel any buffeting at all. And those side skirts on the front, they're chucking the air away from my shoulders as well, so I feel actually that there's a lot of clean air, a lot of really clean air right in front of me, which is quite nice. And I could imagine doing a long tour on this bike and being really quite comfortable all the way. This feels a very accomplished bike. It feels a very grown-up bike. It feels a bike that you can use to take to work. It feels like a bike you can use on a hack on a weekend. It feels like a bike that you can take on a tour, but it also feels very childlike as well when you want it to be, that you can flick it, you can change the settings on the damping or the suspension, the speed, everything about it. You can almost change most of the settings and really make it a really fun bike. It's quite strange because to turn the bike off you have to use the kill switch, but look at this on the screen, isn't this clever? Ah, kill switch. And then to turn the bike off, you press the key button again, it turns screen off. Well, I found this bike really nice. You know, the ride of it is really nimble, really thin. It gives me the impression that it's kind of a grown-up bike, but not only being a grown-up bike, but you can be a child on it as well, if you wanted to be, and chuck it around bends, and the power is there. Well, none of us want to be grown-ups, but we've got to say it for the cameras. But, you know, there's a chain on the back, which is a big downside for me and Mark, because we do like using or riding bikes that have got shaft drives. So let's have a look at the amazing screen. Well, I think this is something really special. I really do think this is a special screen. Ready to race already. We've got the kill switch off. Let's take that off. And it's just like having a computer, like a big mobile phone or a tablet or an iPad or something like that in front of you. But it's really intuitive when you change the settings. You can go up and down with all of your settings. The font is really good so that you can see it. And ordinarily you've got your odometer, so this has only done 111 miles. You've got your front and rear PSI, your fuel range 242 miles. And this has got a 23 litre tank in this one, so 242 miles, it's full tank. You see your full tank there, your temperature. You can see how many, or what your damping settings are set up for, whether it's 1, 2 riders with luggage. Massive, great big rev counter. You can see what gear you're in, that's your speed, and you can also see your damping and your ride settings.
I think that's really nice actually. That is very clear.
It's very special, isn't it?
That is what motorbikes should be doing, not these horrible little grey screens that some bikes have got.
Yeah.
Why would you not want to see a big screen like that? People complain that they don't have a proper rev counter on it or a speedo or something like that. Well, that is pretty special. Obviously going to be expensive.
Yeah.
And you know, if it breaks it'd be a nightmare. But another thing I like about it is it's actually adjustable.
Yeah. So there's a little lever just in behind, and you just flick it up, and the whole thing is adjustable to your liking. I just think that's just an amazing idea of KTM's.
You know, we're probably very simple, but that to me makes a big difference. That says to me that somebody's actually thought about people who ride a motorbike.
Yeah.
And they might be 5'5", they might be 6'2".
Yeah.
You know, and that makes the big difference.
Definitely. And it's got other things like here, it's got a little flappy bit for and dare I say, a conventional power socket rather than proprietary like other makes have got, so you can just plug in whatever you've got rather than having to buy extra stuff.
Yeah.
And that's covered in there.
But look at this round here. Look at this. This container opens up so you can put your mobile phone in there, and there's also a USB connection so you can actually charge your mobile phone in there. That's amazing. Why wouldn't other people think of that? You know, we're harping on about bringing bikes, making them modern and everything, but that is, somebody's thought about that, and that's important.
23 litre tank, and you get a minute. Apparently when you turn the bike off, you get a minute that it will allow you to open it and activate. After there, you've got to start the system up again, shut it down, and you've got another minute to open that up, so that's really good.
It looks like something out of a Transformer film. But again, they've taken the time to think about it, and this has actually got cornering lights. So when you go around a bend at night, it actually lights up the way you're going to turn, which is like French Renault cars have had them for years and years and years, you know, and it's like, why haven't we thought about that before?
Well, and the old Adventure had the 3 lights, 3 here and 3 there, so they were here. But now what they've done is they put them into these 3 slots, so they're actually integral into the front light system. The only thing that they haven't done, but I think they should think about in the future is making them programmable so that you can use them when you want. So you could have extra lighting if you wanted to. But for now, if you go over 10 degrees, the bottom one comes on. If you go over 20 degrees, the middle one comes on and the bottom one. 30 degrees lights them all three up.
And if they all come on, you're upside down.
Yeah, so don't do that, don't do it. But, you know, the difference between some other makes and these bikes is quite extreme, isn't it, as to what they think about. So KTM, on nearly all of their bikes, have got this massive, great big mudguard, but what they've also done is it integrated this big side skirt to protect all of these bits that are helping you have a comfortable ride. You know, rather than you having to buy extra stuff, which I think is good.
Yeah, Brembo brakes. This has got cast wheels, and it does come as an option where you can have spoked wheels. But I think the cast wheels are quite nice, and let's be realistic, you know, I would say 99% of most people who take these bikes out riding them aren't going off-road with them, so a cast wheel might be the way ahead, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, if you look down at the wheel again, lovely right-angled air fillers. How cool are they? How many times do you go into a garage when you've got spokes on your wheels trying to fill up at a garage, top air up, and it's just a nightmare. So again, they've thought about the problems motorcyclists have, and they've come up with a plan, which is great.
Yeah.
The mudguard is not as long as others. You'll notice that they've got a cover on the front of the engine, which will actually stop any rubbish coming up from the tyre as it's going along, so that protects the engine.
Yeah. Well, while we're down at the front, just up here, you've got a massive radiator, like most bikes, and that massive radiator is really exposed, but unlike other marks of bike, what they've actually thought about is this long mudguard at the front actually stops stuff being chucked up at that mudguard, which I think is really, really good.
So you don't have to buy extra guards for your radiators.
Now you can get this with luggage. Proprietary, it comes with luggage that you can fit straight on, but this is, now we were told what it was, but I can't remember the words. But
floating luggage?
Floating luggage, that's it. Thanks, Mark. So this has got floating luggage, so you can see that it's actually designed to move with the bike, so that you're not going to have wear and tear just because they can't move. Really, really good idea. Really nice rack on the back, so you can fit all sorts of standard top boxes as well as KTM's own versions. Yeah.
If you have a look at the rear wheel up towards the back, you'll see that it's got a reasonable sized mudguard on the back, which we know from videos we've already made that some bikes don't actually put a really rubbish one on, and you have to buy an aftermarket one to make sure it doesn't get you dirty. But even though it's bigger than some bikes, I think they could have made it a bit slightly better design, because you are going to get muck thrown at the back of your legs from that. I think obviously we're not riding it in the rain, so we can't tell you, but
it does go down really far though, doesn't it?
But it's the edges around by the exhaust there. It's definitely you're going to get spray. If you've got a pillion, they're probably going to get a bit dirty.
Yeah.
But it is a bike. Centre stand.
Yeah, and the centre stand is so good. You watch this.
It's where you drop it there.
So, on lots of bikes, it's really difficult to use it. Now, I do find that this system of their centre stand is quite difficult to get your foot in the right place, because this is in the wrong place for you to be able to actually be able to see where you're putting your foot. But the centre stand, it couldn't be easier to put it up. There's just no effort whatsoever, and that's a massive plus. Absolutely massive plus for that.
That'll be physics then, eh?
Physics working with KTM. How cool is that? But all in all, I think a really special bike, a special looking bike. I think it's certainly a head turner. Now you can get a sat nav while we're looking there, and the mount actually fits on there, which I'm not sure how sturdy that'll be. Remains to be seen, really.
But they might even be able to integrate a sat nav into that screen, which would be pretty special.
They've certainly thought about where they could go with it, haven't they?
Yeah, Toby likes it. I get to ride it in a bit.
Just want to give a shout out to JD Racing, KTM, Saltash, for Richard and Tracy for letting us take these bikes out and try them. Thanks very much.